Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah. In this video, I'm showing you how to make this lovely number one dad card for Father's Day. But this card is holding a surprise. Can you guess what it is? How about if I do this? Did you hear that? That's right. This card is actually a removable badge, which you can take off for your dad to wear all day on Father's Day. Here's how the badge looks when it's removed from the card. You can see I've got that on the back there. And the card still looks really nice even when the badge is removed, so you can still display it even once the badge is being worn. Let's find out how to make it. You can download the free cutting file for this project at craftwithsarah.com/free-svgs or follow the link in the description of this video to go straight to the download page. The download comes in a zip folder, and you need to unzip this before you can upload the files into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG file into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and start a new project, and then go into Upload over on the left, and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the files on your computer, or drag and drop them in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the folder, and then the file to choose is the one which starts SVG in the file name. I'll click and drag that in, and here's what it looks like with all of the layers one on top of the other. If you can see all of the different pieces of the card separate on the screen instead, that means you've accidentally uploaded the wrong file. So if that's the case, click cancel down here on the bottom right, try again, and make sure you choose the one which starts SVG. But this is looking good, so I'll click on Upload, and then it will appear in my recent uploads. Click it to get the green border, and then press Add to Canvas. And here's what my card looks like. It should load in at 10 inches wide and 7 inches tall. If yours isn't loading in at that size, change them to fit. To make this card easier to cut, I want to add a score line down the middle of the base piece. If you don't have a scoring tool for your Cricut machine, then you can skip this bit. The easiest way to do this is to first click on the card over here and then press the Ungroup button at the top. This separates out all of the layers. Go all the way down to the bottom of the Layers panel until you see the base card, which is this big yellow rectangle. Hover over it and then click on the eye icon to hide it. Press Select All to select everything we've still got on the screen, and then regroup it by pressing the Group button again. Now that this is back in the group, we can hover over the group title, this top bit here, click the eye icon, and then that will all disappear. And also click the arrow to just kind of close up those layers to make it easier to see. And now we can turn that base card back on, and we can see exactly what we've got to add the score line to. To add a score line, go into Shapes, and then choose a score line, which is this first one. Set it to the same height as the card, which is 7 inches. Press Select All, and then Align and Center. And that puts the score line exactly in the middle of the card. We're not done yet, however, because if I was to click Make It Now, you see it's going to do that score line on a completely different sheet of card to our base card, which is not what we want. We need to tell the Cricut that we want it to do the score line on this yellow piece. To do that, select the layers again, and then down the bottom of the Layers panel, press Attach. Now if I click Make It, that score line's exactly where it should be. We'll click on this one more time and go Arrange Center Back to move it to the bottom, and then turn all the other layers back on. They might have shifted around a bit, and you can move them back if you want to, but it doesn't really matter. Now looking at the layers, if I open this up, you might find that it looks like you're kind of cutting the same thing twice, because you've got lots of rosettes in here. The number one dad is in there twice. Don't worry about that. That's because we're making one to go on the card itself, and then a separate version, which is going to be our removable badge. And that way, once the badge is taken off of the card, it will still look beautiful underneath, because there'll still be a rosette image underneath. So you can still display the card and it will look great, even when that badge has been taken off. This card uses 3 shades of green, and if you don't have that many, you can simplify it back down to 2. To do that, click on Color Sync at the top of the Layers panel, and here are our 3 different greens. What I would do if I only had 2 greens was select this middle one here and then drag that onto the lightest green. And you see that's changed this little frilly bit underneath the border. And now it's back to just needing 2 shades of green. So that's just a little trick for if you don't have as many sheets of green as I do. However, I'm going to undo that one, so I will cut it out from my 3 sheets. To switch back to the layers panel at any time, just click the layers over here. This is now all ready for me to cut out, so let's go make it, and that will separate out all of the colours. You can change the paper size in the drop down here. And if you want to, you can click and move things about. For example, I would prefer to cut these circles up there because then I can use all of this space down here for another project another day. So go ahead and get all of your sheets of cardstock set to the size you want them, move things about if you want to, and then when you're happy with how everything is looking, press continue to connect to your Cricut machine and follow the on-screen instructions to get everything cut out from cardstock. One thing you might notice this design is missing is an envelope or a box to put it in. I haven't included those with this download because I've already got them on my website, so what I'll do instead is drop a link in the description of this video to where you can find a matching either envelope or box. I recommend a box, especially if your badge is thick, because it might not fit very well in an envelope, but if you're using quite a thin badge, then an envelope may be okay. Both the envelopes and the box cards are free SVGs too, so go ahead and take a little look at those links after you've made this card if you'd like to make either a box or an envelope to put it in. Here's my card all cut out, and I've just laid the pieces one on top of the other to check I'm happy with all the colours. This side over here will be the front of the card, and then this little piece of green, you can see it's got the 2 holes which will thread the badge through. And then this side, this is what's going to make up the badge. There are a couple of different types of badge that I think would work well for this design. The first is just a standard badge with a flat back, so you can easily glue gun that onto the back of the ribbon. But I thought that's not an awful lot of space on that metal to hold this securely. So I also got some of these just kind of blank badges off of Amazon. It was about £5 for the whole box, which will probably last me forever. And these ones I thought would work better because there's a lot more surface area on that circle to put onto the badge. So I think those will be the ones that I'll use. We'll be sticking this together with a combination of glue and foam squares. The glue I like to use is called Collall. I really like it because it doesn't bend or wrinkle the cardstock like some glues can do. And then I put it into these needle tip applicator bottles to make it really easy to fit in all the small areas of the card. We'll also need some foam squares. I like Dot and Dab, but any will do, and these ones are quite small, which is going to work well. If yours are bigger, then you might need to cut them smaller with a pair of scissors. Alright, we'll start with the card. I'll move that out the way for now. And can't pick it up. To start with, these 2 layers are going to be glued onto the front of the card. So let's fold that in half down the score line. And then grab the glue and get this stuck on. Line that up and it will line up right against the edges of the base card. There we go. And then the green border gets glued on the outside too. Be careful when you're sticking this on that you don't press down too hard and smush any of the glue out of the sides. Alright, next we've got this one, and make sure you choose the right one to go on the card itself. It's the simpler rosette design where it doesn't have those circles around the edge or any of these details. So this is the one we want. And I'll start with the rosette on there. Which is just going to be glued on. This rosette is kind of just there so that when the badge is removed, the card still looks nice underneath it. And I'm not adding much foam to this one because it's still got to have the badge on top. I've used the little marks around these two trophies to see where to line it up, and also around that one. And that fits in nice onto what's already there. Next is the white circle, which again I'll glue. Just straight in the middle there. And then for the number 1 dad, because the badge has got to go through here, I'm actually going to wait until I have put the badge on before I stick this. But this one will be stuck with foam squares so that there's enough room to kind of take the badge off. So we'll move on to the rosette badge now. First it's this piece, which we'll do with some foam squares. I've got a sheet that I've already started, so I'll use those ones. As this badge will be made of cardstock, it won't be the most durable thing ever. I don't recommend wearing it out in the rain, for example, but just for wearing it around the house on Father's Day, or maybe out to dinner or something like that, it should last just fine. I think the hardest bit's going to be lining this up. Oh, that wasn't too bad actually. Okay. Next, I'll do the outline here, I think, or does that one need to be done? No, I'm going to do the outline next. I'm going to glue this on. This is very thin, so my needle tip applicator bottles will come in very helpful. Okay. Now that needs to line up on there. Gently press it on. I don't want that glue to come out the sides. That's looking okay. Right, next is the white circle, which will be another foam. I'm adding quite a lot on here just to help it stay that little bit more durable when it's being worn. Put this in the middle. That wasn't very in the middle. Let's try again. That's done. That's a bit better. Okay. The last 2 layers are going to be glued on, starting with the number 1. I'm going to try and get a bit of glue in that little bit in the O to help it stay a little bit better. Be a bit more secure. Number 1. And then finally, I haven't done that very straight, have I? Gosh. Oh well. And then the dad to go on top, which again will be glued. Oops. Perfect. So there's lots of nice dimension in there. And next we'll add the badge onto the back. Here's my badge. I think it might be easiest to thread it through here. So this is the bit that goes on the card first. Let's see if I can open it. I'm not very good with these. There we go. So then, which way around should I do it? That way. It goes kind of in one hole and out the other. And hopefully there's enough gap. Try not to poke yourself when you're doing it. Okay. Okay, that took me a while, but I got there. These badges are really not good. I think that's what I get for buying the cheapest ones I could find. It was really hard to get it to close again, but it's done. It's now joined onto that front piece. So hopefully it will be able to come off again when we're ready to use it. And actually I've realised I've actually messed this up, haven't I? Because I need to stick the dad on there, and now there's a badge in the way. I'll see if I can slide it underneath. Oh dear. It was bound to go wrong. There. No one will ever know. Alright, so to put the rosette on the badge, the best way to do it would be with a glue gun. That's going to give you the most secure stick. I don't want to go and get my glue gun out because I'm in the middle of rearranging my office, and I know where it is, and it's right at the bottom of a big pile of boxes. So I'm going to use some double-sided tape. It will work, but it won't be that secure. So I really would recommend the glue gun. But we'll give this a try. And quite a lot on there. And then put it roughly in the middle. There we go. And then we have that. So then I'll glue, or you could use your foam squares. These badges are really thick, so that is quite tall already. You'll probably want a gift box to display this in rather than envelope. It might still go in an envelope. If you were using a regular badge, that's obviously much thinner, so it won't stand out as much. You're going to need to be able to get at this to unpin the badge. So I think I am going to use foam and just a couple of tiny pieces so that if needed, it can be pulled off and then reattached to help get the badge out. My badge is really thin. If it was a nice wide badge, it would have been easier to get it in and off. On and off, in and off. Okay. Line that up on the white. And there we go. There is my badge card all done. And if you want an envelope or a gift box to put this in, check the description of the video and I'll add some links to where you can get some free SVGs for those from my website too. But this is just really cute. It's such a nice gift and card to give on Father's Day. So I hope you enjoy making this project. It was a little bit different to normal, but I think it's really cute. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make this removable badge card for Father's Day. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and free SVGs. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!